Welcome, Bayou Billy Bones. Segment 7, and this segment has it all. Unskippable cutscenes? Check. Dialogue to mash through? Yeah, we got that. Inventory management? We're in there. First thing we're going to talk about is that aforementioned inventory management. What we're going to do, there's a lot of stuff that's been hanging out in our bags that we're now going to move from our bags into our inventory so we can equip it and use it. First is going to be that axe. We're going to take the axe from the inventory, give it to Angus, and equip it that way he's a weapon for the squid fight, and that he's something he can use to crit slimes later on. We're going to give the bunny tail to Angus, that way he has better agility, so he's a better chance of going before the squid. Seed of strength is going to Angus because he's our damage dealer. Seed of defense going to Hero because he's lacking in defense. Also, we're moving the wing around in our inventory, that way we can have first slot wing directly below with the bell, so we can wing and saber cat very easily from here on out. We're going to warp over to Fairbury. Once we're at Fairbury, we're going to take the saber cat over to Alexandria. Now, when you first start testing with the saber cat, it seems like moving straight versus moving diagonal is the same speed on a saber cat. Actually, diagonal running on saber cat is 10% faster. Diagonal running is 25% faster than regular running, whereas diagonal saber cat is only 10% faster. The reason for that, you'll see it coming up right here. It's very difficult to stay moving in a straight direction with the saber cat. Even if you're extreme with the other stick, going all the way in the opposite direction, the saber cat is still going to pull to the right or pull to the left, depending which diagonal you're using. So you have to keep making all these little adjustments. It's like you're playing Desert Bus. It just keeps pulling a little bit. You got to keep fixing it. You can't just keep going straight in one direction. I think that's what's eating up those other 15% gains. So it's only 10% faster because of all these little corrections. Also, all these little corrections mean more steps. So if you're trying to use the saber cat to avoid encounters, you'd probably be better off just going straight. So in the last segment we did, we're using saber cat to avoid encounters and to move some distance. It was better to just go straight because fewer encounters. Whereas here, because we can holy water, we're going to go diagonal to get that extra speed. Here, this chest, it's very difficult to open up chests with the saber cat. He has a tendency to clip through things, so you be sure you're going a little bit diagonal, you have a better chance opening up the chest. Now, because these extra steps, we're going to have to open up the menu and use a holy water. If we were moving straight, we wouldn't have to use a holy water until we exit Alexandria, but even with that extra menu of using that holy water, this still saves 6 seconds off of moving straight. So moving diagonal here, even with all these little extra steps, 6-second gain on this section. And using a holy water is going to help us later on. Because the way that holy water works, it doesn't matter where you used it. All the game does is check, is it active? And if it's active, any encounters you get in the area that you're in will disappear. So it doesn't matter where you used it. You can use it in Fairbury, wing across the globe. It will still be active until it tells you that it's no longer active. What saves time in the segment is a lot of little optimizations. No big time gains you can make in the segment, unless you have just a godlike squid fight where you're critting with every hit. But even then, that only saves you 1 or 2 turns. So really it comes down to these little optimizations. So the first little optimization, when you're talking here to bangers and mash. If you were to just hit attack, 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 that's going to be extra inputs. So instead you want to hit either flee or intimidate. So hold down on down and then just mash on X. If you're fast enough, you'll hit flee. If you're not fast enough, you'll hit intimidate, but in either case, it's one input and it's the end of that scene. Then as always, hold on up, mash on triangle, you're through all the dialogue. Now coming here to Alexandria, we'll talk about more little optimizations. Anytime you open up a door, if you hit X as early as possible, you then enter this long animation where Hero walks toward the door and then opens it. If instead you're right up against the door handle, it's a shorter animation. So you save time holding back and not mashing on X right away, waiting until you're right up against the door handle and then mashing on X. So here you get just a short open the door instead of walk over to the door and open it. Also, every time you accidentally grab a barrel, that's going to cost you 2 seconds. So when we're up here and we're going through the little hole for Munchie, it's very easy to accidentally grab a barrel. So you want to make sure you walk straight up against the wall and then mash on X. So don't mash on X too quickly, otherwise you're wasting time, just the same thing with doors. Now everyone assumed that Munchie had the same speed, straight or diagonal. As it turns out, he's faster in the diagonal direction. It's actually very difficult to send Munchie through that hole without accidentally picking up one of those barrels. Even if you are facing directly at the hole and you're not facing either one of the barrels, you're directly in between them, the game will decide, you know what, you're close enough to a barrel, you obviously want to pick up one of the barrels. What you want to do to be sure you don't do that, make sure that Hero's toes are right up against the hole and then start mashing on X. Once you do that, then you're close enough to the hole takes priority and you're outside of the cloud of those barrels. In this section, when we go down here and grab the letter, even though we're not having the most efficient diagonal running, this saves 8 seconds. Where you just run straight here versus running diagonal, 8-second gain running diagonal. As soon as Munchie grabs the letter, if you're mashing on triangle fast enough, he does this little thing where he just scoots forward instead of running. It doesn't save any time or anything, just a cute little detail. So as soon as he grabs the letter, you mash on triangle, and then instead of him running away, he'll just scoot on his butt and then run out the door. And again, diagonal running, fastest way to get out of here. Only little add, we're going to turn to the right here and grab this barrel. Costs 2 seconds, but it gives us a seed. We're going to need some seeds for both alchemy and also just stat boost. So I'm grabbing this little seed here. Costs 2 seconds, I think it's worth it. then out the door. This door is very annoying. You can't just hold the diagonal right or diagonal left anytime you go through these little doors. You have to go straight first and then diagonal. If you try to go diagonal, you're going to hit the door jamb, because when Hero opens up those doors, he's not quite through the door yet. So it's straight and then diagonal, and then you're up here. That first question with bangers, you can say no to. It's not a problem at all, but you need to be sure you say yes to this one coming up. Not a huge time waste. He'll just ask right again. Got 2 yeses. Yes, you can join. Yes, I'll show you the letter, and then you're all set. Through my first 30 attempts of this, I was within 10 seconds of my sum of best. And I said, you know what, 30 attempts, done this 30 times. I'm within 10 seconds of my sum of best. How much better is it really gonna get? Between that attempt number 30, which is pretty good, and this one, which is attempt number 202, I saved a little over a minute. So it tells you, even if you think it's done, even if you think, you know, how much faster this could really go, do a couple more attempts. You'd be surprised how much your sum of best falls and what little optimizations you can find. Because there was over a minute in just those little, okay, hit the door here. Okay, hit yes to this cutscene a little faster. Okay, be sure to pick up that barrel. So grabbing the Saber Cat did enable us to save a little bit of time in this area versus just going straight to Alexandria in those cutscenes. Because we can get from Bearberry to Alexandria a little bit faster in a Saber Cat, and we can get that little section a little faster. And then here, Saber Cat through the tower. And this coming up right here is the entire reason why we needed to do this section. We can skip Jessica and all that until we get to Evil Jessica, and then we can't get back in here because Bangers won't open it for us. So we have to go back and do all its cutscene. Now, this is where the split happens. One option it would be to leave as soon as Bangers opens up that door. If you do that, you are then cutting out the next 15 minutes of stuff. But cutting out that 15 minutes of stuff, you would never get the alchemy pot. Also, you would have a longer fight with Argon Lizard, and your grinding would be a little bit strange. So one option, and this is what I think a task would do, as soon as Bangers opens that door, take off, go grind. You have 15 minutes, those 15 minutes, you can do a lot of grinding, and then go take out the Argon Lizard, go straight to Simpleton, start doing all the Angelo cutscenes. Here instead, we're going to get Jessica, we're going to spend those extra 15 minutes on all these cutscenes, we're going to take out the Squid, and the reason why, the alchemy pot is worth it, and having extra characters is just worth it. So going through the tower right now, and again, little optimizations, you want to be sure you're right up against those doors. Now, there's no end boss for this dungeon. The main difficulty for this dungeon, if you play through this casually, is that the game throws a number of higher level enemies at you. And the real test of the dungeon is just, can you survive to the end? Now, what this means for us is that because the enemies are higher level, we have to be a higher level for our holy protection to ensure that there are no encounters in this dungeon. So that's why in the previous segment we had to take out 2 metal slimes instead of just 1 metal slime, because the way that holy protection works, the way that holy water works, it checks your level versus the opponent's level. So if your level is high enough, you won't get any encounters. If your level's too low, you will get every single encounter. Because these enemies are a bit disproportionate to where you are in the game at this point, what the RTA does is just tries to survive. Flees from everything and tries to survive. The RTA takes this dungeon at about level 6 and just runs from everything. And this is despite the fact that the RTA needs to level to level 7 and 8 in order to fight the Squid later on. So see right there, that was one of those long animations where he walks, and then opens. And diagonal running as much as possible. Try to be as efficient as possible. Some parts you can't really, but you do the best that you can. We're trying to hit the very center of every door. That way we have the slowest animation as possible. That door here on the left, what it does, it spins around and deposits you on the other side. So you'd think, oh, it'd be faster to just take that door, and that way you'd be closer to the stairs, you wouldn't have to go all the way around. But because the door opening animation takes so long, it's actually faster to just run around the corner. One big detour here, and that's over here to grab this shield. 3 reasons I'm making this little detour here to grab this shield. 1, it sells for quite a bit of gold. 2, I can use it for alchemy immediately. And 3, when I have the Squid fight at the end of the section, it's a faster fight if I have more defense, because I don't have to heal at all, I just do straight damage. So having 1 more shield is going to give Yangus more defense, I can just straight attack. So here we begin one of the long, unskippable cutscenes. But it takes up most of the time in the segment, just unskippable cutscene, unskippable cutscene, unskippable cutscene. So we have a little bit of time during this unskippable cutscene. So let's talk about where I could save time in the segment. First, in that opening, the menuing and getting to Alexandria, my best segment on that was 2 seconds faster than this one. Where that came from, just really good menuing. The menus here aren't very responsive, so there's sort of a rhythm you have to have in the menu. Sometimes you have it, you have a great menu. Sometimes you don't, it costs a couple seconds. So the best one ever was just really good menuing at the beginning, and I think a little more efficient Saber Cat running. From getting to Alexandria to getting out of this tower, this is my best version of that ever. Other places that I could save some time. The Squid fight, my best Squid Squid fight was about 3 seconds faster than this Squid fight's going to be. What that came from? A crit. Did a crit, which basically saved a turn. So a decent Squid fight here, but not the best. Then at the very end, there's a couple little flubs between the kill of the Squid and saving, so you could save another couple seconds there. So total, another 10, maybe 15 seconds could come off of this if you really did everything perfectly. But sub 26, which is what I was looking for, this ends up being 5 seconds faster than that. So when I was first grinding this, as soon as I got sub 27, I was like, you know what, that's probably done. And then here we are at sub 26. So it's worth it to put in those extra attempts to just really try to get solid menuing, really try to get all those little small, hit the doorknob right there type of things. So long, unskippable cutscene here. Zolmegas kills people. He's a bad guy. I don't know if you knew that, but now you know that. He's a bad guy. Long, unskippable cutscene. And this is part of the reason that I'm working so hard to just try to get rid of this. Just really, do we have to do this? Do we have to do this? Because it's just long, unskippable cutscenes over and over again. And there is a way to skip it, but the problem is, by skipping it, you're giving up a lot. And the big thing you're giving up is that alchemy pot. So if you were to go straight from when Bangers opens the door and then take off, so you skipped all his Alexandria stuff, you would save a good 15 minutes. In those 15 minutes, you grind as much as possible, try to be a high enough level, that way you could take out the Argon Lizard. If you can take out the Argon Lizard, that resets a lot of the NPCs, so you can go straight to Simpleton, grab Angelo, unlock Angelo, which would then in turn unlock Jessica. But you're giving up the alchemy pot, and it might not be possible in a segmented to grind enough levels in 15 minutes to take out the Argon Lizard. So that's the trade-off. So there's no inputs you have to do in that cutscene. All you have to do is just keep on mashing on triangle. But one thing to keep track of, every time somebody gets killed by a scepter in this game, be sure to make a note of where they died. Because there's a fetch quest at the very end of the game where you have to go through and say, alright, every single time somebody in this game died because of a scepter, find where the body is. And you have to go find all those bodies. So as it turns out, Alistair was killed by Dolmegas. So she's the same goal as you guys, and she's totally going to help you, but she won't help you fight a Squid. So you guys are on your own for that. But after that, though, she's totally going to come and help. At the tail end of this cutscene is the Yangus fan service. So those Yangus fans pays off here. You get one of the greatest memes to come out of this game, and that's that Yangus core blimey face. And that's why you need to sub to Dream Bomb, so you can get that core blimey emote and just spam it everywhere. I know you guys. So you have long and simple cutscenes, then run behind you. Jesse will call back to you, a couple more pieces of dialogue, and then you can cast a vac and you're out of there. So we're casting a vac, then we're going to take a wing back to Alexandria. Now once we get to Alexandria, we're going to go stay at the inn. So we've been running around, you probably noticed this entire segment, with no health and no magic points. And we never stayed at any inns. You're like, well, okay, when are you going to stay at an inn? What's the problem? Well, there's no encounters for this segment because we're high enough level. So we're using the plot inn, because there's a stay at an inn that comes up as part of the plot. We're using that as the inn that's going to restore everything for us. So a bit of synergy, and you know I love synergy. Using a plot inn. And then we'll hit that plot in, and then we'll be back on the plot. Then the only thing that stands between us and the alchemy pot and Jessica, a fight with the Squid, and more unskippable cutscenes. Now another little bit of optimization here. When you talk to Bangers, I found the best thing to do is to be to his left. That way, he will talk to Bangers. When he's done talking, he will walk right through you, and then you can mash on X to open up the door. So there, he walks right through you, and then you mash on X, you're right at the door. And in this case, Hero just sort of teleports forward, grabs the door. If you're in front of Bangers, he'll walk to the side, and then when you mash on X, you'll talk to Bangers again, which just wastes time. You're out of there. So save a couple seconds, because one, you don't accidentally talk to Bangers again, and two, you open up the door even faster. So be on his left, talk to him, he'll phase through you, open the door. Then that plot in, you have Trode working on the alchemy pot, and you're going to get that anytime you have that in stay. It's set as part of the plot. After this, take the run up to Jessica's house. Once you're in Jessica's house, you take the right branch, you're there, you're inside of the cutscene, and then you're just mashing through cutscenes. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this cutscene, this is the one where Jessica talks to her mom and says, you know what, screw you, Mom. I'm not just gonna stay around here be sad, girl. I'm out for blood. I'm going to avenge Alistair with fireballs and whips and, well, she's got daggers too, but you probably shouldn't put points in her daggers. I mean, sure, at the end of the game, you can start using swords, which can help you level up metal slimes. Whips, though, are clearly her best weapon skill. Once she gets Twin Dragon Lash, she becomes your glass cannon. Yeah, she doesn't have much hit points, but man, she can put out damage. She starts becoming your #1 damage dealer as soon as you get that Twin Dragon Lash. Each lash of it is stronger than a regular attack, and you get 2 of them, so you just get a straight double attack. Really strong, helps you a lot getting you through to the end game. And she gets it early too. It's a pretty early whip spell. Now, if you're playing this game casually, as soon as Jessica does this, she will then leave the Jessica clothes in her room. And so if you're one of those people collecting all the outfits, after this you would run into her room and you'd grab the Jessica outfit. And that's what she's wearing right now. And yes, if you're ever searching through YouTube, there are some people that are crazy about their Jessica outfits. The most popular Dragon Quest VIII video on YouTube has 400,000 views, and it's nothing but a video of Jessica's outfits. So yes, never underestimate how much people love Jessica. In fact, I'm pretty sure half of the RTA runners have had to ban the word Jessica and Puff Puff in their chats because it just gets ridiculous. You guys are crazy. Seriously, you guys have issues. Anyway, from a speedrunner perspective, the Jessica clothes aren't a good item for us right now. Reasons for that: 1, the stats are terrible. 2, it sells for a little bit of gold, and we're at the point of the game, or we will be very soon, where we need a lot of gold. And it just takes a while too, because you have to run into a room and then run all the way upstairs and then grab it and then come all the way back out. So it's just not worth it for us. So out the door here, and now we already have that warp to Port Prospect because we've already been to Port Prospect. So we don't have to do any of that run. Since our last menuing, we've picked up the earrings and we've picked up the shield. And we're going to want both because they give us extra defense. That way, for the calamari fight, we can just do straight damage. We don't have to worry about healing at all. We don't have to worry about defending at all. Just straight damage because now we have better defense with those earrings and with the shield. So once you're in Port Prospect here, you just run straight to the ferry building. We already raided this area in that first segment, so Port Prospect really is only useful to us at this point for sleeping and saving. There's nothing else it really has to offer, except for this last bit of plot before unlocking Jessica and unlocking the Alchemy Pot. And for that reason, we're just going straight doing plot, not stopping for any detours right now. Go into the ferry building. Here, you have some yeses. Every time Jessica asks you, you have to say yes to them. One is, are you going to do it? And one is, are you ready? And there's a little gap in the middle where you have to run toward her and hit X again. If you accidentally say no, you have to go right back into a menu. There's some loading going on. And as we already talked about, this game loves saying no. The same button to skip dialogue is also the button that says no, so you accidentally say no all the time as you're practicing this game. Also, if you're accidentally holding down on your D-pad or your analog stick for whatever reason, even if you're perfectly mashing on X, what'll happen is the D-pad or analog stick will move you to the no option, and then you'll say no to everything. So you have to make sure if you're holding anything, you're holding up, and that you switch from mashing on triangle to mashing on X to get those X's. Some more dialogue management. You have to be sure that you say yes here. Otherwise, you initiate the conversation again, so all this loading you have to do again, because it loads the conversation. So it's not just one of those prompts that say, no, wait, are you sure? No, wait, are you sure? Instead, no, you leave the conversation. You then have to enter the conversation again. Not as bad as Geysers, where he just enters the water and he's gone for a minute, but still costs a number of seconds. Once you're in the boat here, you have one more dialogue to get through. And it's been a while since we've had any dialogue, so it's very easy to get caught sleeping and not be mashing on triangle. So be sure, you're still mashing on triangle, you still got another dialogue. Once that's over, you're just sailing on the boat, anchor comes up, and there's no more inputs until you see the bubbles behind the boat, and Calamari is going to pop up when you go through his dialogue. So while we have a little bit of time waiting for bubbles, let's talk Calamari's strategy. Now, Calamari, much like Geyser, starts off the battle with a very damaging attack, but unlike Geyser, his damaging attack goes after both characters. So, here's his order. First, he'll do a Flame Breath attack. That is his strongest attack. That will wreck your party. After that, he will do a single attack to one of your party members. After that, he does Sweep, which hits both of your party members, but it's pretty weak. After that, again, another hit to one of your party members, who will then sweep again both party members. He'll then hit again single party member. So after those 6 turns, he will then repeat the whole process. So what this means, for us, we want to get him dead within those 6 turns, because we do not want to have to deal with 2 Flame Breaths. Now, originally what I planned to do was Flame Breath attack, because it's so damaging. I said, you know, you have to defend that thing. That thing's ridiculous. If you don't defend it, you're taking 30 something damage. If you defend it, you're taking 15 something damage. So you're saving about 15 hit points from each character, but here's the problem. Yes, you're saving 15 hit points from each character, but it's putting you 1 turn behind in the rotation. So what you've saved is you've done nothing. Okay, you've gotten 15 hit points for each character, but then you're going to be 1 step behind, so he's going to get 1 more action. So he gets either another sweep off, which is already doing 15 damage per character, or one of the hits for an individual character, which can do 20 or so. So you're not really saving much, and you're losing time. So strategy right now, what I'm going to be doing is going to be straight psyching. So turn 1, psych to 5, turn 2, psych to 20, next turn after that, psych to 50, and then attack. Now with the strategy, 75% of the time I would end up killing the squid. But of those successful attempts, 75% of them would have one of the characters die. So as you just saw, first turn he did that big fire breath attack, we got wrecked, we took a bunch of damage, and we got up to psych 5. Right now we're psyching to 20, so both characters right now are going to be psyching to 20. He's going to get his single attack off. Right now he decides he's going to single attack Yangus. Yangus takes 17, Yangus down to 27. So Yangus can take a sweep coming up. After that though, we'd be afraid of him. So sweep, not that damaging, but now Yangus is at 15, kind of in the danger zone right now. If he hits Yangus, Yangus might die before he even gets his attack off. But what we need them to both be is both be up to 50, and then he needs somewhere to some extra attacks. And good news, our agility is pretty high, so we generally get to go first. Our first attack 140, hitting the squid with that. And now Yangus gets his attack off 147. Now even if he attacks Yangus and kills him, it's not that big of a deal. What I want right now is just to do as much damage into Calamari as possible. And as long as one person survives, we win. So 25 coming for Hero, and they're both in danger zone right now. Somebody's going to die. Right now it's Hero. Good news, Yangus has enough damage, and now he's fast enough he can get that last shot off, and now Calamari's dead. Now if you get lucky, you get some of those crits, you can save one of those turns. And if you're really lucky, they both survive. But again, it's not that big of a deal to have them both survive. I really don't care about that. There's only 300 experience that's going to be gained here, and the game automatically brings your character back to life at the end of this, so it's not that big of a deal if you die during this fight. 300 experience to us, because we can do a lot of skips and things, not that big of a deal. We're going to be coming up to 1,000 experience, 10,000 experience opportunities really quickly. So that's a squid fight done. Finally, you get some plot. You get to mash through a bunch of dialogue. Turns out it wasn't his fault. There was this guy, he had a scepter, he's a jester dude, you'll find out about him later. Put some bad ideas in this guy's head. He's actually a cool guy, he likes comedy and things, you learn about that later on. Squid's a nice dude, Squid's a nice dude. And then Jessica, just in time, rushes in and tells you guys, hey, good, I would have helped, but I didn't, but I could have. And you're cool, so eventually we're gonna join and we'll go beat up dummies together. And now you learn the wonderful backstory of these characters. Now your biggest enemy coming up here, there's a long list of dialogue and unskippable cutscenes coming up. And unlike Alexander, we can just mindlessly hold up and mash on triangle, and at the very end you'll just start running. Here you have to say yes to a couple things, and once it's all done, you have to then run to the up left direction. So what you need to do here, after you're done with this dialogue with Jessica, the boat goes back to Port Prospect. You then need to tell Jessica, sure, we should totally go to Paragon Quay, and you know what, you should totally come with us. So you have 2 yeses you have to hit. If you know the second one, it's not that big of a deal. She says, you know what, I don't care what you say, I'm joining you anyway. But it's just a little bit faster, hit yes instead. You skip one dialogue. But you definitely want to say yes to the first one, which is, yeah, we're totally ready to go to Paragon Quay. So I played this game a lot, and I'm still not really sure why, plot-wise, they go back to Port Prospect instead of just going straight to Paragon Quay. I think what's happening is the game's trying to fake you out and say, oh, no, Jessica's not coming with you. You were just doing a nice little thing for Jessica where you were setting her free and so she could do whatever she wanted to do. And now, maybe you'll see her at the end of the game, but she's not part of your party. And then, psych, she's totally there. That's my guess, at least. But yeah, it's very annoying, because now you go back to Port Prospect, and then you say, no, I do want to go to Paragon Quay. And then you go back to Paragon Quay, which is where the boat was heading originally, before it ran into the Squid. The boat is actually the ferry between Port Prospect and Paragon Quay. So why would it go to the Squid and then turn around instead of just go straight to Paragon Quay? I don't know. If somebody's a good theory, please let me know so I can stop these sleepless nights. Now everyone that runs this game, that sees this cutscene, has the exact same reaction. Good God, where's that axe? Because that is a good axe. That's an iron axe. That's later in the game. Pretty good piece of equipment. We start finding those back around places like that. That's a good axe. Your earliest chance of getting that axe is to buy 2 farmer slice for 910 gold a piece and then alchemize them, which I wouldn't recommend because it's kind of a waste of money. Or just wait till you can finally get that axe and buy it. In the game, you can't even get an axe until you're already done with all the geyser stuff. And here it just drops off. And they show you him dropping the axe. You can see the axe fall away and disappear in that water. You'll never get it ever again. And even as we are right now, we're sequence breaking, we're going all over the game. We still have the stone axe. We're not even going to get an iron axe till we go to Argonia and get it out of the cabinet. And where this plugs in time-wise, if you look at the map of the game, that bridge that's now disappeared is just before Fairbury. So the little opening, the little outcropping where the opening cutscene and all happens is just a few feet away from that. So the game actually starts just probably an hour after they left that. So they walked a little bit further, they got a little tired, they sat down to take a break, Munchie went for a walk. Next thing you know, it's getting dark, they can't find the princess, they get attacked by slimes, that's the opening of the game. You know that? If you're in push. Now, one of the more annoying transitions is coming up here. It seems like you guys are in the lower part of the ship, and you'd figure, okay, I'm just going to run up those stairs. But as it turns out, after it fades to black, you're now upstairs. You need to hold up left to go down those stairs, to go then around the corner, and then into the captain's hold. Now here, third one in, we're grabbing that as a seed. Then we're grabbing the one right here in the end, another seed. Places where you can mess up, you can very easily grab the wrong barrel, and every time you grab the wrong barrel, you have lost 2 seconds. So we're going to grab the bronze knife, and just like the RTA, we're going to use that to make the thief's key. And here, this coming up, talking to Trode, this is the whole reason why we did all those extra cutscenes, so we could have this alchemy pot. The alchemy pot's going to be very useful. We're going to be able to make a lot of stuff with it. We make a lot of better equipment with it. Now, once you get into alchemy in this game is not instant. It's instant on the iOS version, which is broken, so please play the broken iOS version. The way that alchemy works in this game is that things are not ready immediately, they have to cook. And how long they have to cook depends on how difficult of an item it is to make. So they have various levels. On GameFAQs, there's a really good FAQ if you want to learn all about alchemy, how many steps and everything else. It depends how hard the item is to make. Some take a lot of steps, some take very few steps. So for instance, a Timbrel of Tension, which is one of the most broken items in this game, we don't do in a speedrun. One, because it would take a long time to grab all those items, and two, it takes so long to cook that item. You have to walk halfway around the world before that item is done. So the two great sins of the speed run for this game. There are two amazing things that break this game that we are leaving out. There's the monster arena. There are some really powerful monsters. There are some really powerful monsters that make this game really easy. The problem is it just takes so much time. To even open up the monster arena, you have to go find monsters, kill those monsters, bring those monsters back to Mori. So before you even have a starter team, it's going to cost you 20 minutes, half an hour. Timbrel of Tension, the other broken item. There's some really good alchemized things such as the Timbrel of Tension, but it just takes so long to cook it. Those are two amazing things that we would love to use to break the game, but they just take too long. So now as soon as we get to Paragon Quay, all we have left to do is save, which is run to the guy and save. So segment 7 ended up being a little under 26 minutes. So it took a little under 26 minutes to do all of the Alexandria cutscenes and all that stuff. Now, it isn't totally waste of time because we had to do bangers, and we didn't have the bangers done until about minute 7, minute 8, but all that extra time we're trading to get Jessica in the alchemy pot right away. So plans for the next segment, we're going to start cooking things, and we're going to start killing slime. The reason why we're going to start killing slimes, if we kill enough slimes, we're then at a high enough level that we will get no encounters through all of the land and through all of the ruined abbey, so we can go from where we are right now and unlock Angelo and have absolutely no encounters. Thank you for watching.